Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we're back with another window shopping video for Polish Pickup. Polish Pickup, or PPU, is a monthly pre-order marketplace. It takes place on the first weekend of every month, and there's always a new theme and a ton of indie brands that make polishes or other hand and nail care products to fit that theme. And I love to do window shopping because it's always so fun to look at the pretty polishes each month, but I also try to be helpful and come up with some potential comparisons or potential dupes to help you shop your stash. So without further ado, let's browse the website. Okay, so here is the Polish Pickup website for the month. I still can't get over how cute the new website is. It's just so pretty, but let's just go straight into the nail polish to look at the first two rows. And from here, okay, some pretty shades. The 1422, I think, looks so beautiful, just like that shade of blue, and it looks so sparkly. It's really unique with the darker blue flakes in here. So I think this is like a really fun summery kind of shade, but you know, not one that I need in my collection. I also kind of really love the Alchemy, this combination of a UV and thermal. The different states are so pretty. Oh, I love them so much. I guess my favorite is the warm state of the thermal in the shade. Yeah. I mean, they're all really pretty, and just having like the different, again, like gradient effects and possibilities, you know, just so fun to look at. And the only other one that's really catching my eye is the BCB. I Never Forgot You Ever, just because it's a super gorgeous like neon green with this glowy blue shimmer. I feel like there have been a couple of neon greens. I think this one is a little bit more yellow leaning though, like almost a highlighter. Yeah, like this looks really yellow, or like yellowy green as opposed to a green that I'm thinking of. So I wouldn't say that this is similar to Atomic's Sour Apple Rings, because I'm pretty sure that has a golden shimmer, right? And this is blue, so it's already, you know, different for that reason. But yeah, just such a bright shade. And oh my god, the ring. The ring is so cute. I am obsessed with that, maybe more so than the polish. But yeah, I guess the only other one actually that I want to quickly look at is the Arcana, or Arcana. I keep forgetting how to pronounce it. I say this every single month. But seeing like, you know, the red and then the black flakes, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is kind of close to the Tyler's trinkets that I just shared. I think the only thing it's missing though are the holographic micro glitters. This seems to just kind of be like a shimmery, almost metallic base with the black flakes. So if anything, it actually looks more similar to my recreation attempt using 23 flavors, you know, from Cracked as the base. So it's not as sparkly or dimensional, I think, as the Tyler's trinkets, but very similar vibes. But yeah, we can just keep going to the next two rows. And from here, oh my god, I mean, obviously the Bow Revs. Oh, this hot pink. It's beautiful. I love the shade. I'm not gonna get it, but it's just so freaking pretty. I actually can't think of like something that would be an exact dupe. I mean, you know, we always see hot pinks, but I feel like the base of this is a little darker maybe than some of the ones I'm thinking of in my collection, like Cirque's Flamingo, for example, or I'm like blanking on the name, the neon pink from Prism Parade. That's like, it's just like a darker sort of, you know, cool toned hot pink. I feel like this is a little bit in that mid-tone family, and I love that. Oh my gosh, it's just like so tempting. Also, wait, the name, Sometimes I Eat Instead of Facing My Problems, that is so funny and relatable. So yeah, I am unfortunately tempted by this, but I know better, so I'm just gonna get out of there, you know? And in a similar vein, also immediately drawn to the Cadillacer called Steven Universe. I've never watched the show, but I at least, you know, can immediately get the reference. But this is so pretty. It just looks like such a magical, you know, fairy unicorn kind of shade. Also familiar, but to what? Maybe the base color kind of looks like Mooncat's Death's Trumpet, or at least like a more pastel version. I think you know, depending on the photos, it just looks a lot lighter. And the shimmer is also, you know, a little different. And this is obviously a glow in the dark, right? But yeah, it's such a pretty shade. It's so, like, I wouldn't say it's that close to Polish for Days Lush, but maybe like a distant cousin or something. It's just so dainty and pretty, you know, such a cutie pink. But yeah, I don't need it. And the other shades I'm not like super drawn to. Like the Bluebird is gorgeous, but I feel like that's another one that's kind of giving, you know, familiar. This one immediately reminds me of Cuticula's Fairy Core from a previous PPU. I feel like Rogue also had come out with a polish like this. It was from their Ostentatious collection. And I think that one faded. I remember one of them faded for me, but I don't remember if it was this one that I'm thinking of, like, you know, the potential dupe or whatever. But they did have like a really chromy looking shimmer, kind of like this. So, you know, it's just a combination we've seen before, but it's gorgeous every single time. I guess the only other one that's sort of looking familiar is the Bee's Knees Magnetic, because it kind of looks like Blade of the Frontiers. Maybe it's possible that it's like a different shade of blue, or like the base is darker. Like here it kind of looks like a black base, or yeah, even the magnetic itself, it just is a little more, not teal, like aqua or like a turquoise color. I think Blade of the Frontiers was more of a blue, like a slate blue sort of color. But my point is that they've just done a lot of fine particle magnetics, so if it's not Blade of the Frontiers, there's probably another blue that they've done that just kind of looks similar to this, you know, or at least like another brand has done it. My point is, fine particle magnetics are everywhere right now, so I'm not super tempted by that one. And I guess I can look at the Chameleon nails, because this is another solar thermal. I'm like obsessed with the way of swatching it where it looks like a Skittle, essentially. It's just so fun to see all of the states all in one. But yeah, this has some, you know, cute color combinations. I guess for this one I prefer the UV aspect, right, where it's like the pink and the darker purple, but it's still, you know, it's still cute in like the other manis and stuff, so it's fine. But yeah, not super into it or anything else, unfortunately, so we can just move on to the next two rows. And oh my god, from here there's some more pretty shades that are standing out. The first one that caught my eye was the Cupcake polish, so we'll just talk about that. This is so beautiful, and it reminds me of Linby Designs Frostlight, or is it Frosted Light? Something like that, but it's a previous PPU shade. They brought it back for Rewind, maybe not last year, but the year before. I actually don't fully remember, and it's kind of upsetting to me that I don't remember. But my point is, it looks so similar to this, being this like soft cornflower blue base with this glowy like greenish shimmer. The big difference though is that this looks like a much more buildable crelly base. Like you can't really see any nail line, at least I can't, or it's super hard to see. But the Linby is like very sheer, so you know, if you don't like a super sheer shade, this would be a great alternative. Maybe the shimmer in this isn't as glowy as the Linby, but I feel like just the color combination, it's just so close, and I feel like it's still a glowy shimmer, you know, it's not super subtle, so I think it's still really pretty. And of course, I do also want to look at the Colores de Carol. Oh my god, the case of the pink mani. This is so stunning. I mean, immediately I think of Glitch's Lovey Dovey, which is kind of like the brightest mid-tone pink magnetic that I have, where it's not like a deep hot pink shade. The only other one that is maybe somewhat close to this, but actually not really, because it's a lot darker in my opinion, is Holo Taco's Flirt Alert, and that one's a bit more red, right? This is definitely like a pink magnetic, so that's why it reminds me of the Glitch a bit more, but I think this is still maybe darker than the Glitch, or maybe like more cool toned, because I remember the Glitch being a warmer toned pink. It's just so pretty. I love it. I love it so much. I don't need it, but man, I really, really love it. I'm so jealous of people who are going to be getting that one. Oh, and right in between that, funny, I like literally did not even see it at first, is Cracks Sprouse, which I have shared. I think it's been a long week. But this is their PPU shade this month. It's just, I didn't even like, it didn't register this photo, right? Because it just looks so much different than when I wore it. These photos here look a lot more muted, almost like a strawberry like jam kind of color, which don't get me wrong, I do love, but the way that I saw the polish is pretty much like all these other photos where it's like a hot pink jelly, definitely like a more cool toned one. Again, I feel like this photo leans very red tone, so very interesting how that picked up there. But yeah, it kind of looks like a chameleon almost, but to me it definitely reads like these other photos, just being a bright hot pink with those gorgeous flakes. Oh, I love it so much. I would be extremely tempted if Monique wasn't kind enough to have already sent this to me. But yeah, oh my god, it's just so pretty. So yeah, I really love that one. Another one that I think I love is this Dreamland. Oh my gosh, this like neon sky blue shimmer. It just looks so beautiful, so vibrant. Oh my gosh, I want to say I don't have anything like this, like especially for being a shimmer. Like any kind of bright blue shimmer I think of is like Mooncat's River Styx, which has a lot more green in it. Like this is a blue, you know, and it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I'm so tempted by that one. Like in a way it kind of reminds me as a sibling of, you know, Shake Your Shamrock or something. I think they had other sibling polishes to that, but I don't think this one is technically. Yeah, no, it doesn't really mention it. And this one is inspired by Jaws, or like Steven Spielberg specifically. But yeah, very cool. I don't really care much about the reference. I'm obsessed with the color. But I'm trying to talk myself out of it because, I mean, I feel like I have a decent amount of bright blue, like sky blue creams, but I don't have a shimmer. But do I really need one? No, right? Because, I mean, I've lived my life without one. So, you know, I mean, of course it would be nice, especially for summer, like, because I love these shades of blue, or like this shade of blue for summer. It's just so, oh, it just scratches my brain in like the right place. Beautiful, beautiful summer shade. I love that it's like a nice little delicate shimmer. I guess like that's the only thing. It's not a super glowy shimmer. It's definitely like a fine, you know, subtle one. You just see it in certain lighting, almost a lit from within type of glow, but I don't even care. Just like the base color. The base color is so pretty. So I'm not gonna add this one to my wish list, but I am gonna be thinking about it because it's gorgeous. And I want to look at this Danglefoot because it looks like, yeah, the edges are like green. Oh my god, this is so beautiful. It's called Thievin, inspired by the meme Steven with an O. Do I know that meme? I mean, it doesn't sound familiar, but yeah, this initial shot, right, like seeing that blue shimmer but then this like hint of green along the edges, obsessed with that. As far as like a dark green shimmer, I feel like, you know, this is kind of close to Mooncat's Access Denied or Hollow Taco's, what was it called? Was it Ivy League? I think this definitely has like a smaller, or just, you know, a different shimmer particle, but just the shade of green, you know, just reminds me of that. So I don't need it. It just looked really cool in that photo specifically. But yeah, so we can just move on now to page number 2. And from here, I can't say I'm immediately drawn to anything, but I know from watching Caitlin's video that the Glistening Glow called Apple, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, so incredibly glowy. I loved this on her. The color is just stunning. The shimmer is so glowy. the little dainty hollow in there. I feel like this almost reminds me of Fauve's Crown of Flowers, I want to say, but it's like a brighter and more warm toned shade, because that shade was more of like a pinky purple or like a magenta maybe. So you know, like it's a different color, but just like the way that it glows you know what I mean? It's just so breathtaking. So I love it for that reason, but I feel like I just wouldn't really wear it that often, you know? So I'm not gonna get it but it's gorgeous. And then the Haunted, this one does look really pretty, but I feel like it looks like one of the Bee's Knees polishes that just like came out recently. Maybe a little different because it does look like this has a little coppery shimmer in the background. But as far as like this, you know, swampy green, I think it was called Touch Moss. It might be another one because I feel like they came out with like that collection that had several greens and blues. So, you know, I might be mixing up the names. But there was something like so close to the shade. Super gorgeous, but you know, not really my specific shade. And unfortunately, I'm not really feeling the other shades. Like, I mean, I think the Garden Path is the next prettiest one, but there's just something about the finish that's like, I don't know, like it's pretty, it's glowy, which like, you know, I do like, but I don't know, I'm not loving it for some reason, which is kind of crazy because it does look like there's pink and purple micro hollow glitters, and in addition to those glowy iridescent flakes, it just seems like it would be up my alley. But I don't know, there's something about like the texture maybe, or just like the visual, like it's kind of visually noisy, if that makes sense. Like it almost reminds me of static, but not in a way that I like. So that might be weird. It's pretty, just not for me. So we can just move on now. Now from here, there's definitely some pretty shades, but not anything really tempting. The Hit the Bottle, this one looks so much like Cracked Polish's Get the Fuck Out Ice, which was a charity shade, and I don't know if it's still around anymore. So if you missed out on that one, I feel like this would be a really lovely alternative. I love that combination. It's just so warm and glowy. Then the Indie by Patti Lopez magnetic kind of reminds me of Mooncat's Mutiny, I think. Isn't it crazy that I feel like I just don't really remember? Like, it's because there's just some polishes that, you know, when I review them, I just wear them that one time that I'm swatching them, and then I don't wear them again. So it's just kind of hard to remember exactly what they look like. But in my mind, Mutiny is, you know, a very glowy-ish, like green magnetic, so it kind of looks like that, at least from what I remember. And then the Lemming Lacquer, kind of, but like less so, reminds me of something like Island Peas Enchantment or Mooncat's Drown My Demons, like just something being, you know, this dark teal, like a shimmery kind of look. But the two that I mentioned are magnetic, so, you know, definitely different in that way. And the other shades, like, you know, they're pretty in their own ways, right? Like the colors are nice, but they're not really calling to me, and I also can't think of, you know, things that are similar to them. So I guess we can just move on now to the next two rows. And from here, okay, some more pretty shades. Like immediately the Lurid and Linby are catching my eyes, and it's so funny because they both just look kind of similar, but the Linby looks like it's a solar or a thermal. I don't even want to tap into them because I can just tell, like, them being those like flaky kind of formulas, I just don't need one in my collection. The closest that I can think of to the Lurid maybe is, oh my gosh, which one was it? It was from Mooncat's Kaleidoscope Haze. I think it was called Lava Lamp. That was like the tealy, like, or maybe it was like more of a sea foam or like a jade color. I think it's a lot more pastel, so maybe that's closer to the Linby. But yeah, I just don't need a jelly flaky. Like, I could recreate my own if anything, but the base colors, for, you know, from what I can see here, are very pretty. The other one that kind of caught my eye is the Moth and Moon. Oh my gosh, this one I do want to look at some more photos because I know the initial photo is always like, you know, that more out of focus, right? It's just to show off the sparkle, right? It's beautiful in that way, but I just want to see some more photos. And it's so interesting how much darker like it looks here. I mean, I feel like overall these photos are a little, you know, darker. I mean, it's a darker background and stuff, so maybe that plays into it. But no, yeah, this one kind of looks a little more muted. I was gonna say with like the brighter photos here, it kind of reminds me more of the nail polys. Oh, what was it called? It was like teal, something with teal in the name. I think this is a little bit different of a blue like base color than Island P's Wavelength. This also, I think, seems to have, you know, reflective glitter, right? Which Island P does not have. But yeah, it's kind of like, you know, in that color family, which I do like. But yeah, I don't need that one. And what the hell just happened? Okay, hello. Sorry about that. But yeah, the other shades, not really calling to me, you know, like, I mean, maybe the Lumen is very pretty, but it's also just like super sheer, and it's kind of in that territory of just being so sheer it pisses me off. Where it looks like a topper. So I don't need that one, you know. So we can just go on to page number 3 now. And from here, oh my gosh, okay, this nailed it. I am assuming this is a solar, not a thermal. Yes, okay, it is a solar. I love this peachy orange color. I mean, to be fair, I do love the other state, like the UV shade being this, what would you even call this? They describe it as a deep maroon. I don't agree with that. Maroon to me is a lot more of like a brownish red. I would say this is more like burgundy almost, you know, it's like more purpley red. I love it though. Oh my gosh, I know I was literally just saying I don't need another jelly flaky, and I don't. Let me see. Okay, from Cirque, I would say that Fuyu is probably the closest, you know, to the shade that I really like here. The problem is that I don't have like a gold flake quite like this. Like Holo Taco has lunar unicorn skin, but I don't know, am I crazy in thinking that it just does not look the way that these flakes look? Like technically it's an iridescent flake, right? So I'm sure if I did a sandwich with them, it would be, you know, close enough. And then for the, I was going to say the cold state of the color, the UV state of the color, what would I use from Cirque? Because I feel like this is darker than Marsala jelly. This is more berry than wine jelly. I don't know what shade they have that would look like this. Maybe it's like a combination, you know? But that's the thing, like you could just layer jellies, but oh my god, I love that one. I especially love it in that top right photo. You like barely see like the UV transition, right? But it's just, ooh, I love it so much. The only other one I kind of like from here is the Night Owl, but it just reminds me of Mooncat's Death's Trumpet, you know, like the UV version or something in between the normal state and the UV. It just looks like this has a reflective glitter, so it's easy enough to dupe more or less. And yeah, the other shades, not really calling to me, not looking familiar. So we can move on to the next 2 rows. And from here, I would say the one that stands out to me the most is the Raven Lacquer Upside Down Glow. I'm assuming this one is a thermal. Yeah, it's a cranberry base when cool and a pink when warm. And with these like, you know, blue shimmers, these iridescent flakes, super gorgeous. Like, ugh, I love the warm state of the color. The shade of pink is so pretty. The gold state is cool too though. Very, very nice, but not a shade that I need. Also, what is happening? Okay, then the other shade that kind of stood out to me was the Polish for Days, but it kind of immediately reminds me of Prison Parade's 2 Straws, 1 Julius, or Apocalypse's For the Pun of It. I think that was the orange. So there's just like other neon oranges, you know, that are similar to that. The pinnacle, at least from like the visual look of it, it almost reminds me of Holo Taco's Silent Library. Is that what it was called? From the Dark Academia collection, where it's like technically a crushed holo, but I feel like it just looks almost like a micro flake kind of finish. So that's what that reminds me of. And the Phoenix, I love the magnetic shimmer in that, right? Not super crazy about like the background shimmer specifically, but the magnetic, oh my god, it's so gorgeous. I just got in, well, maybe not just, it was like a week ago or so, but I got in my Hella Handmade order from last month, where I ordered Pepper Polish's Blue Lava, which has that gorgeous blue magnetic. I don't know if it would be really similar to this one, because I don't know, I just don't remember the base looking like this, or like the background shimmer. So that would be funny if it actually does look like this, because I was just saying like, I don't really like it. But I love the magnetic. It's so cool. And I love how it's magnetized here. The like wavy kind of patterns. How cool. Love that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not gonna tap into any polish anymore. This is really pissing me off. But yeah, the only other one I guess that's kind of familiar is the Pie Colors, looking like Holo Taco's Boom Toasted. Super gorgeous. Love a glowy ethereal gold. But yeah, the other ones, not really speaking to me, so we can move on to the next two rows. From here, the Sweet and Sour, stunning. So stunning. This is like pure summer in a bottle. I remember having a polish that looked just like this from different dimensions. I think it was called Peachy Keen, but mine faded, so it doesn't look like it anymore. And so I'm tempted, where I'm like, oh well, I could just like get it again, you know, like a new neon version, but then it's just gonna fade again, you know? So I won't do that to myself, but it is so beautiful. I guess technically it might also be kind of close to Cirque's Day Tripper. Maybe this is like a little lighter, but yeah, I love it. I love it so much. The Royal Elite also looks like a beautiful shimmer. Like they could be a part of a rainbow collection, you know what I mean? Like so gorgeous. But that is a shade that I know I wouldn't really wear as a full mani, but it is pretty, you know? And unfortunately, I don't really like the other polishes too much, and they're also not really giving familiar. I mean, maybe the Ribbit Stickets is like Mooncat's Petals for a Narcissist, but with like a slightly more taupey looking base. So, you know, it's close enough, but not for me. So now we can go on to the last page, and we just have two polishes here, two magnetics. Neither of them are really calling to me, but both are kind of familiar. The Wetcha sort of looks like an Island P magnetic. I think it was High Roller. That was like their purple one. And then the Zombie Claw looks maybe like a lighter version of Cracked Polish's No Reservations. So yeah, I'm not really tempted by them. So lastly, we can just take a quick look at the hand and nail care section for KB Shimmer's Scrub, and it's called A Little Bit Salty. Love a summery, salty, beachy scent. Also love the label, that looks super cute. But this one is described as having top notes of salty sea spray, crisp ozone, fresh rain, subtle floral notes of lily of the valley and jasmine, hints of leafy greens, pine, musk. Definitely sounds lovely. Like, just, you know, I'm there, right? There's a beach and I'm there, and I love that. I love that it can transport me, but I'm also not like fiending for it, you know? And I also feel like because, wait, hold on a second. Now that I'm seeing their magnetic, I didn't even like look at it in, you know, like as we were looking at the polishes, but seeing it here, do I have to go back? Because this polish looks gorgeous. It's giving by Pride. But wait, okay, hold on. I have Island Peas Flip Side, Palo Tacos. What was it called? Oh my god, they had one. They had one that literally looked like Flip Side, but maybe, maybe it's like a little different, right? But it's gorgeous. Sorry for sleeping on that one. I'm not gonna go back and look at more photos, but but just from seeing it here, especially velvetized and with having, the two lights, like the two angles, I love that it's giving by Pride. But anyway, back to the scrub. Basically, I don't need it. And with Rewind around the corner, I'm going to be peeping the KB Shimmer site for the scrubs that they bring back. So, I can wait. And I still have like a couple of scrubs that I'm working through. I'm making good progress. So, I'm not like in a rush to buy more, but this does sound really yummy. So lastly, let me see. I know it's like saying 13, but yeah, there are no items in my wish list. So that wraps up my window shopping for polish pickup this month. As always, I would love to know what you think of this month's theme and the offerings in general. The theme I thought was so funny. Like, it is just so random. I feel like definitely one of their more unique themes. So for that, I really enjoyed it because it's just so inspired. Even though I know I didn't even like touch on the inspirations for the majority of the polishes, I feel like doing that alone, like reading each of their descriptions and their inspirations would be so fun. But I already talk enough as it is for these window shopping videos, just trying to like come up with comparisons or, just admiring the polishes. So I didn't want to make it any longer by going into the inspirations. But yeah, there definitely were a lot of really pretty shades for the most part. There were a few that really caught my eye. Some that are, kind of tempting. I'm still thinking about them, but I have not gone back to add any to my wish list. But I really am still tempted by that Dreamland just because it looks so bright and beautiful. Like, I love vibrant sky blues like that. And it's just kind of crazy to me that I don't have a shimmery one in my collection. So there is a part of me that's kind of nervous, I guess, of, potentially regretting it in the future. Like, I would hate for it to not come back for Rewind. I mean, Rewind is already next month too, so it's not like it would be back next month, but I'm gonna hold out hope that we'll see another shimmer just like it, but the base color of that one is really like speaking to my heart. So yeah, I'm pretty much skipping this month, which I am very excited about, but let me know if you have anything on your wish list or if you're gonna be skipping this month as well. I'd love to hear about it down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!